The Financial Safari Radio Show features some of the best retirement planners from across the country and is your source for common sense information to help in your retirement planning. We pride ourselves on bringing 21st century solutions to our clients' retirement needs.
In Birmingham and surrounding areas, call Tad Hill, president of Freedom Financial Group, 800-929-4077. That's 800-929-4077.
Welcome back in, folks. Of course, this is the Financial Safari. It's your weekly show looking inside that complex financial world. And to make it a little simpler, it's time again, as we do each and every show, to check in with our local trusted advisor. And here in Birmingham, we check in with Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Tad Hill. Folks, you can reach Tad at any time by dialing toll-free 800-929-4077. Walter?
Well, thank you, Coach Pete. And hey, Tad, how are things going?
Doing great. It's good to be back on the Financial Safari.
Always good having you here, Tad. Folks, we love checking in with our local trusted advisor, Tad Hill, right there in the Birmingham, Alabama area. You have your opportunity to call and ask him your financial questions. The number to call, 800-929-4077. Tad, how are people making decisions these days when it comes to their financial and retirement planning? What goes into the decision-making process for folks these days?
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that I see, unfortunately, too commonly is that there really isn't a process. There isn't a defined way or path that people follow to come to financial decisions. Oftentimes, it's whatever their broker recommends. Sometimes it's because a friend or family member has done a particular thing, and so they've done well with it. But really, all of those things revolve around the investments. And I've talked about this on the show before, but anytime we're trying to solve a problem, we have to make sure we're asking the right questions. Because if we're asking the wrong question, even if we get a good answer to that question, we're not going to end up with the kind of solution that we need. I'll give you an example. What are some good investments these days?
Well, good investments these days can be hard to come by. I would normally say maybe CDs, but interest rates are so low that's not a very good investment, and stocks are so volatile, it's hard to pinpoint good investments.
And so what we're having here is a conversation that, if we're going to really do planning, is the last conversation we should have as part of a good planning process. And yet, it's the only conversation that typically takes place. What are some good investments? Well, I'm going to have to ask about 40 questions before I can give you the answer to that. So what happens is people talk to their friends or their neighbor or their broker, and the conversation is around, hey, this is a great stock, or this is a great bond, or this annuity will give you all of these wonderful features. And the part that's missing is what's actually going on in your life, and what do you need from your investments? Most people have gone through a decision-making process when they're investing their money that leaves out a lot of very critical pieces of information, or even worse, is based upon flawed information. What our process does for people is take them through a decision-making process that, A, makes sure we're asking all the right questions, B, gets the answers to those questions, and understands whether any of the answers have been negatively impacting you in the past. And then the last piece is, what do we need to do to accomplish your goals? Then we can start talking about what are some good investments. Because investments are designed to do different things. So it's that thing that's missing so often. I'll give you an example. I had a couple come in from Vestavia Hills. They came in a couple of weeks ago. He had just retired. And he had made the decision that he had already rolled over his pension into a lump sum before we got together. We didn't really get a chance to look at it and analyze which path would have been best for him, whether it was to roll out the pension in a lump sum or to take the annuity. So that right there is an example of, he had some ideas in his mind, but nobody had really walked him through a decision-making process about which approach was best. But it was okay. It wasn't, it wasn't the end of the world. But it would have been better if we had gone through that decision-making process using all of the right information. We sat down, and he had been working with a broker, and I started asking him what was important to him. What matters to you the most? And what he and his wife both said, which is something I hear very commonly, is we want to protect our life savings. We want to make sure it's not going to run out. And we want to be able to live through our retirement years without having a lot of worry. We don't want to be overly concerned about, what's going on in the markets or economy. We want to be able to sleep at night. And I said, okay, well, how have you gone through making decisions in the past? He said, well, I've got a broker that I've been working with for a while, and, really it's just a matter of, whatever he recommends. And so we started looking at his portfolio, and what we found was that his retirement plan was going to work flawlessly as long as one thing was happening every year. Can you think of what that might be?
No, what was it?
As long as the stock market is going up by at least 6% a year, every year, his retirement plan was going to work flawlessly. Now, if you're in retirement, how would you feel about that plan if your main goal was security and elimination of worry?
I would be a little worried because the stock market never behaves one year to the next the same way.
So I call this a strategy for any market. Markets can go three directions. Can you think of what they are?
Well, up and down, and I guess stay the same, nowhere?
Sideways.
Oh, okay.
Up, down, and sideways. So what I see regularly when people come into counsel with me and we start really looking at their situation and going through our retirement roadmap review, this is a planning process that's designed to make sure we're making decisions with all of the facts. How much are you currently paying in fees and taxes? How much risk is in your portfolio? Do you have exposure to any potential challenges like the bond bubble? What exactly are we going to need from your money, and how do we accomplish the things that are most important to you? Now, all of these things have to be answered before we start worrying about where to invest the money. But anyway, one of the things that I see regularly is that people's retirement plans are going to work flawlessly as long as the market's going up every year. But if we get an extended period of no advancement in the markets, or we get decline in the markets in years where we're also pulling out money out of those same investments, then their retirement plans are in great jeopardy of not going the way they want it to. And I call this having a strategy for any market. The thing that I would ask you is, if you've never had your broker or advisor sit down with you and say, here's your retirement strategy, regardless of which way the markets are going every year, and here's how you're protected as much as we possibly can protect you, so that even if we don't get the kind of behavior that we want from the markets, we still have a high probability that you're going to be okay. It's that type of decision-making process and analysis that is rarely done. And like I said it a second ago, I call it a strategy for any market. And so this couple, I said, what's your strategy for any market? And they, looked at me blankly and said, well, we don't know. I never heard of that before. Now, if you're 30 and you've got a 35-year time horizon and you don't need your money to live on, you've got your paycheck your paycheck is paying the bills, then that approach, in my opinion, is the right approach. We want to invest for appreciation. We want to be a little on the aggressive side, and we just need to hang in there and not get panicked when things go poorly. But if we're getting to that period of our life where we're going to need to live on the money, that approach can devastate you. You know, if you're listening today and you'd like to know for your specific circumstances the answers to the questions we've been asking, things like, do you have a strategy for any market? Are you exposed to the bond bubble? What are you paying in fees and taxes? Be one of the first 5 callers, and I'll set aside time on my calendar so that you can receive completely free our retirement roadmap review. We do require that you have a minimum of $250,000 of investable assets, but if so, I'm willing to do this at no cost and no obligation to you. The review takes place in our office on the corner of Valleydale and Caldwell Mill Road in Indian Springs. The purpose of this review is so that you can be fully aware of how your financial life is really structured and if there are additional strategies that you and your family could benefit from. My process is designed to ask questions that no one's ever asked you before, to uncover critical information that may have been missing in the past that needs to be part of your decision-making process, and to get the answers to these questions before we start talking about what strategies to implement or what investments to use. In other words, to uncover all the must-know facts for your situation. Listen, if there's something going on in your life financially that could potentially cause you or your family real problems, either now or in the future, when would you want to find that out? Now? Next week? 5 years from now? Never? Examples of these types of problems that I see regularly are more downside risk in your portfolio than you were aware of. Extreme exposure to the bond bubble. This is a big one right now. Paying too much in fees and taxes. Not having a process to determine exactly what you need from your investments to sustain your lifestyle throughout retirement. Or worse, you already have investments that aren't designed to accomplish what's most important to you. It's a decision-making process that asks all the questions and uncovers all the information needed to give you the information that you need to make the best decisions for you and your family. The good news is that after going through our retirement roadmap review, you will have a clear picture of whether any of these things are happening to you, and if so, what you can do to take control of your financial future, both for yourself and your loved ones. It's designed to create peace of mind so you can enjoy your retirement. So for the first 5 callers who call in today and have a minimum of $250,000 in investable assets, an opportunity to receive our retirement roadmap review absolutely free with no cost and no obligation.
Folks, finally, someone is offering retirees and pre-retirees that common sense and straight talk instead of all the financial double talk and sales pitches out there today. Friends, you need to sit down and get a financial roadmap put together. And chartered retirement planning counselor Tad Hill, he'll translate for you that complex financial world into very clear instructions. We all feel this is an excellent chance for you to get that true, practical financial review. And again, for anyone listening right now, the number to call, 800-929-4077. Once again, that's 800-929-4077. You'll receive that comprehensive financial review showing where you are now, but most importantly, that roadmap to get you where you need to be. In short, folks, you have nothing to lose. Again, the number to call, 800-929-4077. Don't delay, folks. Call right now.
Well, it's a great offer, Tad. And folks, I know that you are interested in calling right now. So here's the number, and as Tad mentioned, for the next 5 callers, you'll get the opportunity for this review, for this chance to meet with Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor Tad Hill. The number to call, 800-929-4077. Again, that's 800-929-4077. Tad, our local trusted advisor there in the Birmingham, Alabama area, ready and willing to meet with you. You still have a chance to call in right now to get this review and this chance to sit down face-to-face with Tad to discuss your financial situation and some of the options and strategies that are available to you going forward. Again, if you're a retiree or a pre-retiree, this is a great chance for you to not only get that plan, but to get that common sense approach to your financial and retirement planning. The number to call one more time, 800-929-4077. That's 800-929-4077.